Hello all of my bendy friends, and welcome to another Essential Matwork class. I hope this finds you healthy. In today's class I wanted to look at modifications in the essential repertoire for STOTT Pilates. In the series of exercises, many of them have got progressions and regressions, which if you were to attend a live class would be given to you to modify whatever it was the class was doing in general. And a lot of the time I just choose one of them and we do it. Obviously if you're following along at home, that means that maybe I'm doing an exercise that you're not able to do, and then you kind of have to guess at a regression for yourself, or maybe you're not finding it hard enough and then you have to try and make it harder for yourself. So today what I wanted to look at is some of those modifications that are available. A lot of them do require small equipment, and as a rule I try and avoid using any equipment other than things that I know everyone would have lying around at their home. The whole point of these exercises and these videos is that it's exercises that you can do in your own time. So I'm just going to focus on the modifications today that you would be able to do with the standard equipment that you've got. So for this, you're just going to make sure that you have a mat, and then you're going to need something to help prop yourself up. I've got my foam roller here. As always, a sofa cushion or something like that is absolutely fine, and that's all we're going to need for today. We're going to start off just doing breathing as always. So find yourself a good seated position. Feet are hips distance apart. Rest your hands on your shins, sit up nice and tall. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose, out through gently pursed lips. And every time you breathe, I just want you to focus on sitting taller and taller, really getting that lumbar region of the spine into a nice neutral position. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, the breathing that we always start with, because I was thinking, what if the people at home kind of get a bit bored of this, because we do the same breathing to start every single session. But I was watching Moira Merrithew, the inventor of the STOTT Pilates repertoire, one of her DVDs, and one of the things she was talking about was that when we do the breathing, it's a really good way to kind of get into the mindset of now it's time to work, now it's time to do the Pilates. And one of the other things that's really good about the breathing is, especially if you've had a stressful day, or if you didn't get a good night's sleep, or whatever the situation is, if it's not been great for the last few hours, when you get into this position where you can just sit and take a moment to concentrate and just get into this rhythmic breathing, it's a really good way to just wash the stress out of your body. And I just want you to think about that for a moment now. So just take a nice deep inhale, nice deep exhale, and on the next one, breathe in. Think about all the things that are stressing you out. As you exhale, articulate down, melt down towards your knees, and just let those stresses go away. And breathe here, all the way into the back. Because normally when we breathe, we think about the chest rising and falling, but we use this three-dimensional breathing in Pilates. So really think about getting the air into the back of the lungs, and this position is really good to feel the back lifting. And now inhale, sit nice and tall, and then as we exhale, come back down. We'll just do that once more. Melt down towards the knees. Keep the abdominals activated, so you're creating a space between the abdominals and the thighs. Pulling your abdominals towards your back using the transversus abdominis. As you exhale, use that corset muscle around your waist to push the air out. And I want to hear you breathing. So it's not forceful, but it's purposeful. We're going to breathe with purpose, because that active breathing is going to help us to engage through the abdominal muscles and allow us to do these exercises more effectively. And now on an inhale, sit nice and tall, articulate up, shuffle forwards, and lie yourself down. And we're going to do our imprint and release. So inhale, exhale, imprint. Then inhale, neutral, exhale, imprint. And again, this is one of those ones that I was thinking, do people get bored of starting off every single workout doing these same repetitive exercises. But I think especially with the breathing and the imprint and release, it can be quite helpful, especially if you're only doing this sort of like once a week or something, to take the time here to get a feel for where your neutral and where your imprint are, because it's going to feel a little bit different to everyone. Everyone's got slightly different curves in their back. So we're going to inhale, go to neutral, and now we're going to go straight into hip roll. So as you exhale, into imprint, roll straight through, hips come up, send the knees away. Inhale, hold. And now as we exhale, lower it back down, imprint, back neutral. Inhale, exhale, all the way up. Inhale, hold, exhale, lower it down. And think about what your spine's doing as you come up, but also especially when you go down. I find as I lower it back down, my spine kind of does this, it sort of snakes from side to side, because everyone's got little kinks and twists going up. Some muscles are stronger than others. So just feel where those are, and don't actively try and force yourself to correct it, but just try and lower it down at a speed that allows you to lay the spine down in a nice straight line. One more, up, send the knees away. And there shouldn't really be too much activation in the legs here. They're not tense, because you're using the abdominals to pull the pelvis towards you. And it's just at the top that you're getting that feeling of sending the knees away from you. Lower it back down, and flip yourself over. Going to go into cat stretch. So hands under the shoulders, shoulders width apart, knees under the hips, hips width apart. Nice deep inhale, exhale, and articulate the spine. So as you're doing this, we're working on stabilizing the scapula. So don't sink down into your arms too much, and don't round the back out too much. Just try and keep it neutral. I often find when I'm doing these exercises, it feels right when I do it, and because I don't have a mirror, I can't see what I'm doing. And I go back and I edit the video later, I can see that things aren't quite right. You know, maybe my shoulders are a bit high, or I'm not quite sequentially articulating properly. Which is to say, the idea behind this one is that we're moving one vertebra at a time, and the head's the last thing to move. But actually when I go back and I watch it, I realise that my head's moving a little bit too early. But it's important not to beat yourself up over it too much. And that is one of the main benefits of doing live classes, where you have an instructor there to see what you're doing, because they can correct you in the moment. But if you've got a mirror or something and you can look at what you're doing, or video yourself and then watch it back. One more. Lengthen out the spine, and now we're going to do scapular isolation here. So what I want you to do is, using your body weight to provide that little bit of proprioception through your shoulders, you're going to inhale, push away, exhale, come back to neutral. Inhale, push away, exhale, come back to neutral. So you're trying to keep your pelvis in neutral here. I can feel mine kind of lifting up, so just try and keep that corrected. So stay in neutral throughout. Inhale, push away, exhale, come back. And you should feel the serratus anterior working here to push your shoulders back away from the mat. And when you come back, make sure you're returning to neutral, not going through neutral, which is what we're going to do now. So on an inhale, I want to lower it down, and then exhale, come back to neutral. So the movement, it's a bit like if you're ever in the gym and you see someone who's just starting at the gym and they're trying to do press-ups and they're doing them really badly and they're kind of doing this instead of bending the arm. It's pretty much that movement. So you're contracting the shoulder blades together, lowering down, and then lifting back to neutral. Okay, finish that there. We'll come back down onto the mat, and we're just going to do some shrugs. take a moment here to find your neutral, both through the pelvis and through the head. If you feel like your head's kind of cranking back a bit, you can just put some kind of pad under there to help it. I might just fold the mat over just to support the head a little bit. And then all we're going to do is shrug on an inhale, exhale, slide the hands away. All the way up, and then all the way back down. So we're staying in neutral with the pelvis. Our neck is staying neutral. The only thing that's moving is those shoulder blades sliding and gliding up and down the back. And for this one, unlike the scapular isolation that we did before, with the elevation and depression, we're going straight through neutral all the way to the other extreme. So don't really force it, it is just a warm up. But just see how far you can get things moving. And then just relax the shoulders. And now what I want you to do is imagine that you've got a little bug on the ceiling, or you're watching a cloud if you're outside, and it's just traveling down, straight down the midline of your body away from you. So you're going to inhale, you're just going to follow it with your eyes, and then come straight back up. Inhale, follow it with your eyes, and come straight back up. When we're doing these head nods, the idea is to put the head in a position where the neck isn't going to strain as a result of any exercises that we're doing. So if we're doing any flexion exercises where we come up, there's this natural inclination for the sternocleidomastoid down the front of the neck to tense up and pull it in, and you can strain here, or alternatively you extend the chin up when you try and come up, and then you can strain through the trapezius and the scalenes at the back. So what we're trying to do is set the head in a comfortable position, because then as we move, we're not going to create any unnecessary strain. But it also means that we know where we want our head to be, so we can focus on that as we're moving and make sure it stays in position, because you can feel when your head's moving. So it's about generating length through the neck and just maintaining the same distance. So as we come up, it stays there. So we just want to focus on lengthening the neck, finding that distance, and then returning to a neutral position, because we use it through a lot of our exercises. So all the way back to basic, the first thing we're going to do is the ab prep. So we're going to start with the standard exercise, which is the easiest one, and that's arms extended down the mat, looking straight up. We're going to inhale, head nod. We're in neutral in the pelvis, and we're maintaining neutral as we exhale, flexion up. Inhale, hold, exhale, lower it back down. So you've got a little toddler pulling on your fingertips, lifting you up, and then lower it back down. This is kind of functionally similar to a standard crunch exercise, where you're doing this, but we're not coming up as far, because we're maintaining this neutral and we're just flexing the upper body away from the mat. So we're pulling round the waist with the transverse abdominis, or using the rectus abdominis to lift us up. Lower it back down. So we're maintaining that neutral. Lower it down. Now we're going to go on to a modification. We're going to make it a little bit harder. We're going to bring our hands up to our head to increase the weight and resistance that we're working against. So it's the same thing. Inhale, head nod, exhale. So just come up as far as you can maintain neutral. Maintain this peach distance between the chin and the chest. And lower it back down. So we don't want to see the abs bulging out here. And if you're struggling to imagine what a peach distance is, just take your own fist, and that should fit between your chin and your chest. And we want to be focusing on scapular stability as we do this. So our scapula shouldn't be winging or tilting. If they are, you can cross the hands over the chest, and that's just going to help to grip them in place, so that you don't have to actively control them too much, if that is something that you struggle with. One more. Lower it down, relax the arms. And flip yourself over. We're going to do the breaststroke preps now. I think we've done all three of these before, so this should be more of a revision than anything else. So the first one we're going to do, your legs are just going down the mat. Just push that roller out of the way. And then hands by shoulders. Nose is hovering just above the mat. If you're feeling any strain through the neck here, you can put a pad under your forehead to rest your head on. You know, if you can't naturally maintain this neutral. And then without pushing through the hands, just using the proprioception to control the shoulder blades. You're going to inhale, exhale, come up. Inhale and hold, exhale, come down. So as we lift up, we're not pushing through the arms at all. We're using the abdominals to lift ourselves up as well as the lower back muscles. So if we don't use the abdominals, we'll lose our rib connection. And we won't be able to get this nice curvature up through the body. Instead, we'll be kind of kinked down like this, and you'll feel your ribs pushing into the mat. And as we come up, I want you to focus on length. So you're reaching your head away from your pelvis, and you're lifting the head up. So you should still be able to breathe reasonably well with control. Whereas if you bring your head back like this, you can't breathe properly. And now we're going to bring the hands down towards our hips. So we're going to take the arms out of the equation, stabilize the scapula. Inhale, lengthen, exhale. Lift up, come up as high as you can. Don't pull the shoulders back. Lower it down, and I find you'll probably find it helps once you get to the top to do kind of like a reverse shrug. So as you lift up, think about pushing the shoulder blades down. So not back, but down away from your ears. Lower it down. Try and keep the legs nice and relaxed. It's very tempting to tense up with the glutes and bring the heels together, but try and keep them firmly planted down on the mat. And now finally bring the hands up, place them underneath your forehead. So again, this is going to increase the resistance. And lift. And you should feel this one is noticeably harder. Lower it down. And try and maintain neutral here. So using the abdominals to control the ribs, but also control the pelvis. Lower, bring the hands down. We're going to go straight back into a shell. So sit back onto the heels, and now round the back out, stretching out through the lower back muscles. With each exhale, pull the abdominals away from the thighs a little bit more, create that space. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, slowly sit up. Head is the last thing to come up. Come down into a seated position, and then lower yourself down. And we're going to do the 100. So normally you would do 100 arm bounces with your legs up, your body flexed like this. So we're going to do 5 different versions of the 100. 20 bounces on each version. So what I want you to do to start off with is extend the arms down the mat, find your neutral pelvis, stabilize the scapula, lift the arms up. And now inhale for 5, exhale for 5, inhale, exhale, pause. So that's 20, lift the head, flex the body up, now continue. Inhale 5, exhale 5, pause, lower it down, lift the legs to tabletop. So we're still in neutral here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maintain that pelvic stability, keep the legs in tabletop. Pause. Now we're going to maintain neutral, flex the upper body, legs are in tabletop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, keep it going. So find which is most comfortable for you. If you struggle, feel free to regress back and continue in that position. Pause, extend the legs out, maintain neutral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last 5, don't let the abs bulge, maintain neutral, pause, legs in, lower the head down, make sure you're still in neutral, lower the legs, and relax the arms. Now we're going to do the roll up. Same principle as with the 100. We're going to start off with an easy modification and then make it a little bit harder, and we'll keep stepping up until we're doing the full exercise. First time I ever taught a class, I went into it having just done my teacher training course, assuming that everyone would be able to do a roll up because I could do it, and then I got there and no one could do it. So I then had to scrabble for the manual to look for all of the modifications. So bring the arms back and overhead. We're going to do this first variation with the knees flexed, feet planted. So it's the same movement as usual. Stabilize the scapula, inhale, arms come up. Exhale, flex the upper body up. Inhale, come back down. So it's the same movement, but we're just doing a half roll up instead of the full roll up. So arms come up to 90, forward up with your head, and then start to come back as you inhale. Exhale, lower it all the way back down. We'll do one more like this. And now same movement, we're going to extend the legs out. Come up halfway. So it's the same as the full exercise. As you come back, you do an inhale to start the rolling, and then you exhale as the arms come back down. Use that rib connection here, so don't let the abs bulge up. Use the transversus abdominis to pull down, but also make sure you're using the abdominals to suction the ribs down so that they're not popping up. Where are my arms? Here. Okay, so if that's enough for you, stick there. If you want to make it a bit harder, now we are going to bend the knees and come all the way up, reach forwards. So we're doing the full roll up, but we're bending the knees to create more mass towards the center of our body to hold us down. One more. So we're laying the spine down, and now we're going to extend the legs out. Again, if you want to stick with the previous modification, do so. But if you're ready for it, up, reach forward to the toes, roll back, exhale, lay the spine down nice and gently. Heel up, bend over. Lay the spine down, reach back. The analogy that I used with one of my clients recently was, I want you to imagine, because he does caving, that you're in a cave and you've been going this way, kind of squeezing through a tight space, and now you want to go back that way, but you're in a little tight tunnel, so you can't go side to side. And the only way to do it is to reach up, bend yourself over, and then go back the way you came. And then lay yourself back down. And now if you want to make it really difficult, and you can do this with any of the previous modifications, we're going to keep our arms by our ears. And it just increases the weight a little bit. Makes it that tiny little bit more difficult, and you can use this modification to just help prepare yourself to move on to the next one if you're not quite ready for the next one yet, because it just incrementally increases the difficulty. Okay, bring the arms down. We're going to do one leg circle, so we'll do it on each leg 3 times in one direction, 3 times in the other, switch legs, and then we're going to go on to the next modification. So legs are bent, one leg comes up to tabletop. You can extend it out a little bit. We're in neutral, and inhale out and change direction. 1, 2, 3. So we're keeping the pelvis stable, next leg comes up, breathing on each circle. We're not letting ourselves rock from side to side. If you've got very tight hamstrings and this is all you can do, repeat that on the other leg. If you can take it a little bit further, reach the other leg up, nice and straight, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Lower it down, other leg. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now maybe you found that one a little bit difficult because your muscles are tight in the wrong places or whatever. So now try lowering this leg out straight, but doing the other one bent. 1, 2, 3, and then change direction. Keep that rib connection tight, don't let the ribs pop up. Change the legs over. 1, 2, 3, and the other way. Keep breathing. Maintain that pelvic stability. And now if you're feeling really bendy, this is where I embarrass myself. Lift the leg to tabletop, extend it up nice and straight. 1, 2, 3, and the other way. Keep that rib connection tight, don't let the abs bulge up. Switch it over. And last time. And tabletop. Lower it down, bring the knees in. Grab the back of them, lift yourself up. Cross the legs. I'll do this one facing you actually. We're going to do spine twist. So bring the arms up so you can just see them. So this first modification, you've got the legs crossed because it makes it easier to get your lumbar spine into a neutral position. Lift the arms up. Now inhale, sit tall, exhale, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So again, we're maintaining pelvic stability here. So these pulses are gentle. You're not wrenching yourself around and sort of wiggling your pelvis around on the floor. And you should feel the rhomboids here, particularly on the arm that's back, working to control the scapula. I'm just going to do it one more on each side. Now if you were struggling with that one, the thing to do is to prop yourself up. I'm now going to extend my legs out, and to facilitate that I'm going to use my foam roller. I'll sit facing away now so you can see what my lower back is doing. So if you were struggling sat with legs crossed, continue to do it legs crossed but sat up on some kind of a prop or cushion. If you want to take it a little bit further and start to mobilize the hips more, put the legs out in front, arms up, and now you should be able to get this nice neutral pelvis. One of the issues with the camera that I use is it's got a very short focal length, so it's quite difficult to see exactly what my shoulders are doing, because as I swing my arm round, it sort of makes it look like it's zooming out and lengthening. It would be quite useful if I could have a second one that looked down on top to show you. So if you've got good hamstrings, now's the time to take the bolster out from underneath. I don't have very good hamstrings, but I'm going to give it a go. So sit up nice and tall. One more. And center. Inhale. Exhale. And the knees in. Lower yourself down. And I'm going to scooch this way a little bit actually. We're going to do a single leg stretch. So for this one, bring your legs to tabletop, bring the hands to the side. Normally I would get you to come up into a flex position. We're going to do that in a minute. For now what I want you to do is keep the head back, and we're just going to work on the hip flexors. So place one hand down towards the ankle, place the other hand across onto the same leg, but on the inside of the knee, extend the other foot away, and then inhale and switch. So as you inhale, you start the movement, and as you exhale, You finish it, guide the knee in. So this one, you should still feel it working through the hip flexor, and you should still feel it in your abdominals, but it's just not as intense. So if you have issues with your neck and you're struggling to support your head in a flex position, or if your abdominals are simply not strong enough to do the full exercise, this is the option for you. So if you're going to keep doing this, keep going. If you want to make it more challenging, pause there, inhale, head nod, exhale, flex up, resume the position and continue. So as you come up, it takes the strain off the hip flexors a little bit and focuses the exercise more on the rectus abdominis and the transversus abdominis. Keep lengthening the head up. And if you're struggling with neck tension here, take the arms out of the equation, use your hands to support the back of your head, don't pull up, maintain good cervical position, just hold the head in place with the fingertips, keep the legs going, bring them in, lower the head down, and now we're going to do obliques, same deal as before. We're going to start with the legs on the mat, bring the hands up so that they're just fingertips resting behind the head. Again, with all of these exercises, we're not looking to pull the head in, we're just using the fingertips to support the back of the head. So stabilize scapula, find your rib connection. We'll do this one in imprint, and then inhale, exhale, roll across. So with the oblique, you've got one elbow coming down to the ground, the other elbow is coming across like you're trying to touch it to your knee, but obviously we're keeping our feet down this time. Come to the center and across. So you're essentially, imagine that you've got a pivot here in the middle of your body and you're just rocking from side to side. Inhale, exhale on each one. So keeping your feet planted helps you to develop the strength that you need for the full exercise. If you're finding this okay and you want to make it a little bit harder, we're going to bring our legs up to tabletop and carry on going. So now you've got a knee there to reach the opposite elbow to. Maintain a good cervical position, so keep that small fist distance between the chin and the chest, rotating from side to side. And now if you want to make it a little bit harder again, extend one knee away as you bring the elbow across. So it's the same as the single leg stretch. It's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And now you should really feel it right down the linear elbow, that tendinous line down the center of the abdominals, because you're working contralaterally, so you're pulling against it diagonally across the body. One more to balance ourselves out. Back to center. Lower it down, relax the arms. And now we're going to do our double leg stretch. So again, for this one, we're going to start with our feet flat on the mat, knees at 90 degrees. We're going to come up into a flex position. So small fist distance, chin and chest, hands here on the side of the knees. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, reach up, take off your top hat. Bring it round. So if you have weak hip flexors, or if you were just too worn out from the last two exercises, this one's for you. So we're still using the abdominals to maintain our position, staying flexed throughout, using that rib connection. And now if you want to make it harder, bring the legs up to tabletop. So as we reach the arms away, the legs go away as well. Sorry, did an inhale in the wrong place there. So it's exhale away, inhale back and together. So make sure as you go back, you're not reaching the head back. And lower the head down, come out of tabletop, rest the arms. And now from this position, we're going to go straight into shoulder bridge. So as always, like the hip rolls, but instead of articulating up, we're going to stay in neutral and we're going to send the knees away and use the glutes now to lift us straight up. So from this position, again, if you need something under your head, feel free to grab it. Neutral pelvis, arms are relaxed out to the sides. Inhale, exhale, lift, send the knees away. Inhale, hold, lower it down in one smooth motion. The whole body goes down together. Send the knees away, lower it back down. So if you struggle with maintaining a level pelvis, keep it at this level. If you want to challenge your pelvis a little bit, what we're now going to do is tiptoe with our feet. Inhale, lift it up. Inhale, hold. And now as we exhale, lift one foot, lift the other foot, exhale, lower. And again, lift it up, one foot, the other foot, and lower it down. Last one. So we always move on the exhales, with the exception of when you're putting the foot down. I guess that happens on an inhale. And now find an imprinted position, and we're going to do the rollover prep. So bring the legs up to tabletop, cross the ankles over. So you're creating this sort of diamond with your legs. And this one is kind of a modification in and of itself, because you're working on a spectrum of your own ability. So the stronger you are, the further you're able to lift yourself back. But if you're not as strong, it's not an issue if you're literally just picking your pelvis up off the ground an inch or two. So cross the ankles over, inhale, exhale, roll. Inhale, return, exhale, roll. So with this one, you want to focus on the rib connection, because as you come up and over, it's really tempting for the rectus abdominis to take over entirely and for the transversus abdominis to relax. So you come over, and your abs kind of bulge very unattractively between your legs. So what you want to do is suction the abs down towards the spine, so that as you roll back, you want to get this feeling of almost like you're pushing out through your waist. And as I say, if you can come up sort of towards your lower ribs, that's fine. But if all you can do is just pick the pelvis up, that's fine too. Just make sure that you're engaging through the abdominals. We're going to switch our ankles over to balance ourselves out. It seems like such a tiny movement, and then you do it, and suddenly it feels really weird, because you realise just how much having your ankles crossed actually makes a difference than just doing it with your feet together. Come up. And this is one where the breathing really helps. And it's why it's really important that I can hear you breathing. So it's really purposeful, because you're using that breathing to facilitate the movement. And you can tell, because if I'm trying to talk while I'm doing the exercise, it really disrupts what I'm doing, which demonstrates just how important the breathing technique really is. We'll relax the legs there and put them back down. Flip over, and we're going to do breaststroke. So make sure you don't have anything around you. It's going to get in the way, because you're going to be sweeping your arms around. If you're in a prone position and you find that you're struggling to maintain a neutral pelvis, so you've got a bit of an anterior tilt, and you want to get this curve in the back, and your bum wants to stick out, then it might be a good idea to get a towel or something like that that you can lie on top of, and it just holds you in this position, so it stops you from sinking down like that. So some kind of a bolster underneath your hips can be really helpful. Just a thought. So we're going to start with hands by our shoulders, legs extended, feet pointed down the mat, head hovering. Again, if you're struggling to maintain cervical placement, you can put some kind of a pad underneath your forehead. We're going to inhale, and then as we exhale, shoot the arms away. Inhale, come up. Send the arms away. Inhale, come up. So we're not trying to curve back like this. We're trying to lengthen away from our pelvis. And really try and get the shoulder blades moving here. So as you reach the arms up, they're sliding up towards our ears. And then as we reach the arms back, they're sliding down towards our pelvis. So pull them up, send them away. We'll do one more. And now bring the arms down. Should feel a little bit of tension through the traps there. And then give yourself a shell. Just to relax off. Get all the tension out of your back. I always get these sort of two ribbons of tightness all the way down my back on either side of my spine through the erector spinae muscles, the back extensors. So it is important to just take that opportunity to have a little shell stretch just to ease that off. And equally important that when you do your inhale and come back up, you come up nice and slow and bring the head up last, so you don't get a horrible head rush and fall over. And now we're going to do neck pull prep. Same as the rollover. This one, just do it to your own ability level. So it's just one exercise, there's no modifications. So ladybug on my mat. Come on. Get off the mat. I'm going to sit on you. Oh, maybe I'll just flick it off. There we go. Cool. So come down to a seated position. Root your feet down. Knees are hips distance apart. We're going to bring the hands up to our temples. If you do want to sit on something, this might be beneficial for you. I'm not going to use the foam roller though, because it's round and I'll just roll off it and fall over. But if you've got like a cushion or something, you might find it helpful just to ease off the tension through your hip flexors here. So we're going to inhale and sit tall. Exhale, come down into a C curve. As I said, just go back as far as you can. Make sure your feet don't lift off. If they curve up, that's fine. Inhale, hold. Exhale, come over your legs. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, come back. Inhale, hold. Exhale, come forwards. Inhale, sit tall. That last one, you may have noticed, I went back a little bit too far. I kind of just sank back into it. Make sure you don't do that, so come back under control. Come forwards. So we're sinking back into our C curve. Articulate, well, not articulating, hinging forwards from the hips, maintaining it, and then we're losing the C curve as we articulate up. I'm going to do one more. And relax the arms down, give your shoulders a little shake. And now to finish off, we're just going to completely burn out our abs by doing the teaser prep series. There are 4 of these. We're just going to do the first 3 to keep it simple. So the teaser prep is a lot like the roll up. So the one where you do this. But instead of going forwards with the arms, you bring them up and then you use them as a weight to provide some resistance as you come back down. In the full exercise, your legs are up in the air. So for the preps, we're going to start with our knees bent like this, and the feet are going to stay planted. So the arms come up overhead. Inhale, bring them to 90. Exhale, come up. So you want to come up as far as you can without quite coming up onto the sit bones. So come up into the C curve, inhale, lift the arms up, then exhale, articulate back down. So you bring the arms to 90, come up until they're parallel to the ground, inhale to lift them up towards your ears, but keep the shoulders away from the ears, and then use them as a counterweight to lower it back down. We'll do one more like this. Remember, don't come all the way up onto the sit bones, maintain the C curve, and then articulate back down. So if that's hard enough for you, keep it going. If you would like to make it a little bit more difficult, we're now going to lift one leg up to tabletop. So, come all the way up. Lower it back down. One more, then we'll switch legs. Bring them to 90. Articulate up, C curve. Inhale, lift the arms. Lower it down. Lower this leg, lift the other one to tabletop. Inhale up. Weaker on this side. Lift the arms. Lower it down. Come up. Lift the arms up. Lower it down. I can't remember how many we've done, so we'll do one more. If you end up wonky, it's your own fault for not counting as well. Okay, and now the last one. So if you were happy with that, go back to the first leg, keep it going, and then swap over halfway through. We're going to do 6 reps to finish, so 3 on one side, 3 on the other. If you want to make it a little bit more difficult, we're now going to lift both legs to tabletop, lift the arms back overhead, come up to your C curve, lift the arms, inhale, lower it down on the exhale. This is 2. Stay off the sit bones, that's cheating. Come up to the C curve, stop just before you get to the top, hold it with your rib connection, lower it back down. This is 4. So this should be the first on your other leg if you were doing one legged. What am I doing with my breathing? That's 5, last one. Lift the arms. Oh, I'm so sweaty now. And let the legs down. Whew. Shake off those hip flexors. Okay, we're all done. So the general idea behind this workout was that if you've been following along with these videos, if you want to go back to some of the other videos, or for the ones in the future, this just gives you some modifications that you can use without me necessarily giving them to you. So hopefully you found that beneficial. I hope to see you again next time.